Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. Coming up, we're going to have a random knife giveaway. That's to anyone present. It's not a Patreon thing. We're also going to take a look, like a survey of some custom fixed blade knives for EDC. And then we do a discussion. The discussion, what's your current favorite carry combo? If you have a current favorite, that's good. I have a couple. But if you have one that's just sort of... been a long time thing, I want to hear about it. The knife we're going to be giving away is this beautiful black ebony handled Civivi Backlash, courtesy of OG Blades. Thank you, Dave, for this beautiful addition to the Knife Junkie giveaway stockpile. It's greatly appreciated. Hang on, let me up the light a little bit. There we go. This thing is beautiful. This is one of the first 3 models that came out way back when. Still kicking. Beautiful clip point blade with a long clip, and it's got a very thin hollow grind. Classic Civivi action and a beautiful wood handle. This wood is very dense. It feels different from, it's obviously different from the wood you get on most Civivis these days, which is that wood that begins with a G that looks like... it looks like a Portuguese word. I can't quite pronounce it. That wood feels really light. This wood here on this handle, not that the knife is heavy, but the wood feels dense. It feels denser. It feels like a heavier, harder wood. Anyway, I love this knife. This is a hard, difficult one to keep out of my collection, but I can't simply keep every knife that Dave sends. I have to give some of them away. So this... sadly, will be coming someone's way tonight. All you're going to have to do is put hashtag knife in the comments, hashtag knife, and we'll give this away around 11 o'clock, something like that. Keep me honest on the time, as Jim always does. Anyway, how you guys doing tonight? And I'm going to put this Backlash down, and we'll give it away later. How's it going with y'all tonight? It's been beautiful here. We've had absolutely beautiful weather, and it's May-cember. So it is May, but it feels like December. Super ultra busy. And I'm a bachelor for about a week, and I'm Mr. Mom for about a week. And man, the intensity is just up to 11. Andrew Bradley, nice to have you with us, sir. Williams Blade Design, SZK005 by TRC. Okay. These were beautiful. These were the ones designed by William's son, right? 76 out of 150, best knife ever created. I love that. So that is a Quaken, right? Or an Ozokuri sort of blade. Pete Davidson, good day. How's it going, Pete? Good to have you here. Good day, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Missed you live today again, so getting in early. Well, it's really nice to have you here. Hey, Pete, there's wondering if you've heard of Matt Walsh over here in the United States and his recent rants about Australia. Pretty funny. Curious if you've heard those. Pete says, favorite combo at the moment, a K390 Police that I interfered with. K390 Police that I interfered with. Victorinox Mountaineer also interfered with. What does that mean? Like you've modified it? And a Perrin Knives Bowie XXL, very nice, yet to be interfered with. And a 10-inch Sabatier chef's knife, very nice. I used to work in a restaurant that had one Sabatier, and no one else wanted to use it because it looked dirty and old, but it was just patinaed. So I would always use that one. I loved it. And you could smell it. It had a certain smell, oddly enough. Ground Fog, nice to have you here, Ground Fog. Anyone here have besides Pakistani knives, which have an obvious brassy kind of pot metal smell, any knives that you have that have a particular smell? Strange question to ask, but just remembering that old Sabatier from Cafe 930 Kitchen way back in Philly. Just curious. Pat D's Nuts, nice to have you here, sir. Hello, all. Bob, my current favorite combo is the Asher Knives Fixie Carried Scout Appendix. My folder is a Mannix 2 lightweight Rex 45 DLC coated with OG rifling aluminum scales. That's cool. Oh, I remember those scales. I know what you're talking about. Super tough and still 4 ounces. Rex 45 DLC coated. I get it because it's a great steel and it's also not stainless, but it patinas so beautifully, sir. Wouldn't it be nice to have a patina on that Rex 45? I only have one knife with that Rex 45 blade steel, and it is the Mystic, the Kaiser Mystic. What a great knife. Pete Davidson says, favorite carry combo to go with my carry combo, Work Sharp Micro with Torx bits, Olight Arkfeld, Big Eye bolt design action pen, or big one, Big Eye design bolt action pen, Knipex, 100 millimeter pliers, if you can call them pliers. I'm sure there's just like there's torch for flashlight, I'm sure there's something better for pliers than, or for these Knipex than pliers. They're a little bit more than pliers, aren't they? A small bottle of Carnelia oil. Oh, for the K390. What kind of oil? Camellia oil, like our president, Camellia Harris. Vice President, anyway. Fernando Salome, good to have you here, sir. Hello, Knife Junkies. Bob, Jim, love to all. Well, love to you, Fernando, and family. I know your son loves that big O knife that you got me, so hopefully he's keeping his knives sharp as well. Have a knife day. Good to have you here. He says, good evening, Junkalos. Well, good evening to you, sir. I look forward to bumping into you at Blade Show in a few weeks, which I'm presuming you'll be at. Have a Knife Day says, I'm wearing my new coffin-handled Bowie from Elk River Knives that I purchased from a knife shop in Missoula, Montana. Yeah, I like your Missoula videos, by the way. The Microtech Stitch with Ramlock and some mace to keep things spicy. Yeah, you're in Missoula. Maybe you go to a restaurant in Missoula. Maybe the food is not as spicy as it is in some of your more urban locales. So you just pull out your pepper spray. And it's like a up the Scoville on your food. OG Blades, good to have you here, sir. We have Dave with us. Evening, Bob and Junkies. Just returned from a road trip. I love road tripping. To South Kakalaki. On me in the car was my trusted Microtech MSI, Nova 1, Civivi Vision FG, and TKL FMF as my console blade. That is a great, and I'm not just saying this because the Nova 1's a part of it, but that is a great carry combo, and for a few reasons. Bear with me. You have a Bowie, you have a sheep's foot, you have something extra fidgety, and well, you have two things extra fidgety, and then you have a big substantial Bowie-esque clip point to go to town with. Very nice. Craig Vincent, good to have you here, Craig. Good evening, people of the knife. Well, good evening to you, sir. Bob, Jim, and Junkies, evening all. Evening to you, Will be. I'm going to make sure that my keep this in front of me just in case any miscreants are lurking. Danny DeCito, good to have you here, Danny. Ola, Bob, and Guillaume. I like that, Guillaume. I'm going to start spelling his name like that. And you could probably put an H in there and call him Guillaume, but maybe that's a little too much with a young guy voice like mine. Edgy American, good to have you here, Shane. I rarely carry multiple knives, but a Manix 2 and anything works with me. Works for me. Shane gave me my Manix 2 lightweight in S110V, and man alive, is that an awesome knife. And I guess I would have to agree with you, that and anything else, either smaller or larger, either fixed or folder, would be an awesome way to go. Joseph S., nice to have you here, Joseph. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. And he's throwing us the peace symbol. Or maybe he's British and he's flipping us off. But I think it's the peace symbol. Will B says, I always carry different knives. I rotate pretty frequently. Yes, but you have some, like everyone else here, you have a few that are almost always in a starring role, like your Norseman, for instance. He's like, don't tell me how I carry my knives. I know what knives I carry. I'm just saying on Thursdays, it frequently happens to be the Norseman in the starring role, and I respect that. Frankie Frank, nice to have you here, Frankie. Hola Todos. Good evening, Bob and Jim. Today I'm rocking the Kudaman Bowie. Nicely done, sir. On my left, along with the Cold Steel Marauder on my right. Frankie Frank, you're my new spirit animal. Where do you live, sir, that you walk around with two Bowies on you? I love that. And by the way, I'm a big fan of that Kudaman Bowie. I had the Marauder shortly. I sent it back. One of the few Cold Steels only sent back 2 cold steels, and it wasn't because they were bad. It was because they weren't what I wanted. And I wanted the Marauder with the hollow grind, which they made much earlier. And the picture, I swear, it looked hollow ground, so I bought it. I should know better. Sword XXY, nice to have you here, Sword XXY. Good day, Bob, Jim, and fellow knife addicts. Well, good day to you, Sword. Pleasure to have you. Fernando says, best carry, the brain shovel. Yes, from, excuse me, from TM Hunt Knives and Ed Soul. Oh, I had that knife featured here on the channel, and then sadly had to send it back to them. But a really great Nuck turned punch dagger. Fisher Blades Beckwith, excellent. Sog Seal XR Flipper OD Green. 3 great knives there, and 2 real flexes. I guess they're all kind of flexes. Even that Sog, you don't see too many. Wait, which one was that? Was that the Seal XR? The Sog? Yes, that's a good one. And an OD Green, you see it rarely. That is a knife I would like to get, the Sog Seal XR, and I always forget about it. And it is $200, and sometimes it's like for a Sog, but it's a great Sog. I've had it in hand and in-house for a while on loan. Will be. Matt Walsh was advocating for invasion of Australia. Absolutely hilarious. Love listening to him. Yeah, me too. And that was particularly good. And I like that. I like that it was responded to. Edgy American, I've got a cousin that always has an Opinel as a secondary in case someone needs to borrow a knife. That is the perfect I need to borrow a knife. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it's inexpensive and easy to resharpen and all of that. But also, it's a great starter knife. I gave my mom, my mom has always liked knives as for their toolness because she's extremely handy. But I gave her an Opinel to carry in her purse because it's small and light, and they travel a lot, and she picnics a lot, and it's just a perfect knife for her. And that knife in particular got her to appreciate folders. She's always liked regular fixed blades, but that got her interested in folders. So Shane, that's a great idea because for 2 reasons. You save yourself some heartache if you have to loan out a knife, A, and B, it just could be the thing that gets someone to be like, oh, this isn't actually pretty interesting. What else does the knife world have to offer me? I like that idea a lot. Dion Page says, hello, Knife Junkies. Well, hello to you, Dion. Jim and all you junkies, it's a great night. It is a great night. It's Thursday night, and we're careening into summer, and the weekend is here, and here we are talking knives with Daniel Huff. Daniel, nice to have you here with us, sir. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and fellow Knife Junkies. I've been AWOL the past few Thursday nights. That was not unnoticed, sir. Glad to be back. Well, we're glad to have you. Carrying my Victorinox Adventurer, Spyderco Endura in K390. You're the second one. Or was the other one Police? Anyway, and my Case Mini Sodbuster SD. Oh, very nice. Love me the Sodbuster for sure from Case. 5-door. Nice having you here, sir. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, 5-door, hello to you. Craig Vincent says, my decades-old Buck 110s and Schrade LB7s seem to have a very distinct smell. And I swear I can smell Dunkin' Donuts coffee or a cold steel knife 3 blocks away. Craig Vincent, I believe that from you. Sure, the cold steel knife. It's funny that you say that. My 112 does not, but this is a recent 112. I wonder if it has something to do with the brass, because brass tends to smell. Yeah. Over the Pull, nice to have you. Over the Pull, great channel. Thank you. Well, thank you, sir. That's a very nice comment. Puts wind in my sails. And stick around and let's talk. Scotch and Things, nice to have you here, Scotch. Sup, guys? You have a killer collection, by the way. Sup, guys? Carried the Praetorian tie and Dwyer SMF at work today. See? Case in point. Very nice. The Dwyer SMF. Very nice. I always enjoy checking out Dwayne Dwyer's work at the Strider area at Blade Show, because it's not stuff that is easy to see or to check out otherwise. And I'm not buying it It's too up there for me. See, if I didn't have such an appetite for everything, maybe I would be more selective, buy fewer things, and get like super expensive things, but probably not. Help with EDC. Nice to have you here. Help. 81 carry. Oh, I'm sorry. I carried that 8 is a mistake, obviously. I carried a mini opiate, and a Penny Raptor, and I need to do reviews on the Kaiser Milita that I got in last week. Very nice. Help with EDC has a channel, so I got to check that out if I'm not subscribed to you already. Strange thing is sometimes I forget some of the people I get subscribed to. And then, as you know, sometimes if you have a knife channel, people get unsubscribed to you. So I got to make sure I'm subscribed to you, sir. Jim, can you go back one, please? I got to write stuff down. This old brain. Help with EDC. Also, the mini opiate. What is the opiate? Trying to remember what that is. It's I know it was Tool's first album, and I keep vacillating between that and something by Elishewitz, but I don't know. Will B says my Norseman. Okay, as predicted. Olamic Soloist, Microtech Amphibian, very nice, and Axial Shift are almost always in my carry. Yeah. I can see why with the Microtech, and I hear the Axials are great too. I switch between my TKL Night Stalker and Nova 1. Oof, that is a good one to switch back and forth. I got to say, I want to get, all right, so he's talking about these two knives, the Night Stalker, or in this case, the MR1, and then here is the Nova 1. Now, I say in this case the MR1 because they are made from the same billet. They are just sharpened on opposite sides. So they're the same size, same sheath, same everything, basically. So here's the Nova 1, designed by me, Matt Chase, and made by him. And then here is the TKL Knives Night Stalker / MR1. And you see how it has the horizontal riding, scout appendix. I love this style of carry, so I'm gonna try out getting one of these and putting it on here and on my Nova 2 and seeing if I can do it in reverse and have it successfully clip. Though it won't be able to clip over the waistband, it can still go over the belt, because I really do like on the waistband carry like that, like you were just mentioning, sir. All right, Kane A, nice to have you here, Kane. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Guess my favorite current carry could change tomorrow. Yes, that's right. Me too. Is what I carry today. Okay, wait. Now I'm confused because I'm doing two things at once. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Guess my favorite current carry. Okay, guess my favorite current carry. I will. Could change tomorrow is what I carried today. Gareth Bull 3.3-inch chamois. All right, that's a nice one. That was a very much on the coveted list a few years ago. A Mike Moran sheep's foot, regular jack, and auxiliary manufacturing pocket Bowie. So tonight I'm going to be showing off some of these kind of custom fixed blades, like the auxiliary manufacturing custom pocket Bowie, and it was between that and the pocket rocket. So I brought out the pocket rocket. That'll be a good contrast with what you've been carrying. Very nice carry, by the way. Kevin Lamb, nice to have you here, Kevin. Spyderco Military 2 in Crew Carta. So that's with the new one, Military 2. I gotta get that, and I just saw that the Crew Carta came out. So that's my Carta handle with crew wear, and it's a very nice looking iteration. And I've been. Well, it's been about a year now that I've been flip-flopping about getting that damn knife, because I don't carry my regular military that much, but I love it. And I've been wanting it with that back, with the compression lock and the tip-up clip. However, my whole thing getting burned by Blade HQ, burned for $5, but still burned. Kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I get very Sicilian about things sometimes. James Moore, nice to have you here, sir. Hey, all. He says, well, hello to you, sir. Current favorite carry, which will change tomorrow. I love that. Clark Gunstock with Damacor blade. Okay, I remember you telling us about this one. With Damacor blade, hidden hardware, carbo tie, and zirconium, Hanko No. 7 style trident. That I don't understand what any of that is. Is this a knife? Hanko number 7 style trident, 1972 Omega Constellation. I was born in 71, so your watch is 1 year younger than I am. That's cool on a number of levels because the Omega Constellation is a gorgeous watch, of course, and having a vintage one is very cool. 51 years old. Barton Piera sunglasses. You are one classy mofo, James. I don't know what Barton Piera sunglasses are, but I bet they're awesome. I think you have very, very good taste in stuff. In stuff, literally, and obviously in people, because you're here with us all. But sounds nice, man. I like, especially that, I don't know, you've captured my imagination with the 1972 Omega. Very nice. Split and Slices, nice to have you here, Byron. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Guess what? Thursday Night Knives. Last night as a bachelor for 2 weeks. May involve several Belgian triples. Good for you, brother. Carrie is the off-grid Cayman XLRD and the GEC number 36 toenail clipper. Oh, very nice, man. Wait. So I am a bachelor right now. It'll be for 1 week in total, but halfway through it. And it's kind of funny. Like, every night I'm like, tonight I'm going to go home. It's going to be all like bachelor activity. I come home and I sit down in the chair and fall asleep. It's so sad. Except tonight. Thank you guys for keeping me awake and alive. Kilkenny, nice to have you here, Kilkenny. Just got off the lake with my Mora floating fine edge cork handle. Oh, awesome. I would love to be on a lake somewhere, given that the weather is good and it's beautiful. That sounds nice, man. I hope you had a good evening, and I hope you caught some fish, if that's what the mission was. Pat D's Nuts says, my new Hinderer Project X clip point S45VN. I've always wanted one of these, Pat. Will be my new favorite nighttime knife, along with my Cold Steel Tonto circa 1980s. Yes, brother. That is my very first expensive knife. Got it in 1987. Introduced to me by my very close friend. CIA has these. They pound them through car doors. I'm like, what? I gotta get one. But why your nighttime knife for the Project X? Do you mean that to say you don't carry it to work? Curious. Help with EDC says Black Snow Customs production. Oh, yes. Black Snow, man. If you don't know Black Snow Customs, definitely follow them on him on Instagram. He was, and probably still is, a jeweler. I think he's, I don't know, Eastern European, but comes at knife making, folding knife making at such a level. It's unreal. His stuff is incredibly beautiful. The Subvert, is that what it is? The Spyderco that you were talking about? Man, that thing is awesome. Sorry, something in my eye. Frankie Frank says, hey, Bob, originally from Chinatown, Chi-town, but just moved here from to Portland. Oh, Chi-town. So Chicago. Gotcha. Sorry. Okay. Originally from Chi-town, where my wife just was, but moved here to Portland. Man, you must hate guns. Tough time assimilating to the culture, but I found a home in knives and became an enthusiast ever since. Just staying on the edge. How cool is that? Actually, Portland, Gerber is located there, and wasn't Benchmade up there too at one point, or aren't they still? Yeah, Portland is a great knife town, isn't it? Interesting place. I mean, because it's in the news a lot these days for, being crazy, but not in the good ways that it's always been crazy. Now it's kind of like has gone around the bend a little bit. Like every other city, like New York, I'm confident it will return. Everything goes through oscillations and stuff like that. But it's interesting to go from Chicago to Portland. Those two cultures, which are sort of non-weapony in a lot of ways, unless you're a criminal, and they're very weapony, at least Chicago. Anyway, Help with EDC says, I'm glad I'm not the only one that carries 3 or more blades. Oh my goodness gracious, sir. You wait till we get to the pocket check, which, that said, Dion Page says, my current favorite carry is the leather Leatherneck Tonto, and Black Talon 2. It is a vicious carry. It is indeed. That said, let us do now get to a pocket check. I think I cut off Robert Von Darth. Sorry, sir. We'll get to your comment in just a second. Sometimes there's a little lag on what's happening. This here is the old amphibian. I had this on me today. I can't resist. This is one of those knives where I'm like, oh, I should pay attention to some of the other things I have, and if I just keep coming back to this. I love this knife and the stitch. I've been coming back to the stitch quite a bit too. Love that knife, and I never thought I would get that stitch, honest to goodness. Even after I had one here on loan, and then it just sort of like worked into me, and I had to have it. And then once I got it, I love it. And I think the key to me right now with Microtechs are the serrations. I'm just loving the serrations. I love the way this knife looks with the serrations. You're like, it looks. Why are you always talking looks? I'm readily will readily admit I'm shallow, and aesthetics matter to me. And to me, this looks incredible. It looks incredible without the serrations. But what really sold me on them is a video by D-Ring where he used a 20-year-old SOCOM with serrations that he had never sharpened, and just went through rope like it was nothing, like one swipe. I was like, serrations are a good thing to have, because I have a lot of knives that are so sharp, or that I've sharpened and stropped and that kind of thing. They're not toothy enough. They're so sharp. And you could have something wickedly sharp, but still kind of have to cut rope or something and slide off of it. I know that recurve would probably preclude that, but why not have teeth on the recurve? So anyway, loving it. Robert Von Darth says, today I'm running an original Emerson Wave Tonto, very low serial numbers. Very nice, man. Love that. How old is that? I wonder, because I think they stopped dating them in like 2017 or something. But all the old ones have dates on the blades. I'd love to find out when that is, unless it's a Spequar or something like that. Kane A says, Natty Armor. Oh, yeah. Or Amor. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. Black Snow Customs. He's from Israel. Yes, right. Thank you. What did I say? Eastern Europe? Oh, sorry. About to sneeze. Natty Armor. Okay, from Israel. God, his work is exquisite. Man. OG Blade says, spent Saturday night on road trip in Quantico. Oh, very nice. You were close, dude. Was thinking of sending a Spec Ops guy over to see you. Oh, man. Next time you're driving through, let me know, dude. I would love to hang out with you. And you're welcome here anytime. Miranda Hornsby, Rainy. Nice to have you here, Miranda. Favorite carry is my Kunwu Padre. I'm loving that thing. That's the one that has the blade that reminds me of the oh, god damn. I'll come back to it. Benchmade Hidden Canyon, very nice, and the Jack Wolf Sharpshooter, very nice. This is great carry, but the Kunwu Padre, that blade reminds me of a knife I will never get, probably, but it's so nice. What the hell is that thing called? The Evo. The Evo. It when you look at them side by side, it doesn't look like it, but it evokes Evo to me. I really like that. Kunwu has been interesting ever since they've come on my radar, but I gotta say the Padre is the one so far where I'm like, I'd like to have that one. Dion Page says, did any of y'all I was just making sure I didn't add that in, because then I'd had to say I've been in Virginia too long. Did any of you all see the VEF serrations Jimmy Slash put on the Mayhem? Oof, freaking savage. That sounds awesome. The Mayhem, one large cold steel I do not have. I like it. I would like to be, this is going to sound awful. I would like to just have it. I don't want to buy it. It's kind of expensive, and I think the design is a little ham-fisted. It looks a little bit like if GI Joe had a really big, like a GI Joe figure had a really big folding knife, and then you blew it up, it would look like that. It's kind of like on the nose, or I don't know. But at the same time, I had fun playing with it at Blade Show. So I wouldn't mind having one, but I just wish it were a lot less expensive. All of that said, I think Jimmy Slash putting Veth serrations on that is super cool. And I'd love to have that. King Snake Jake, nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, Mr. DeMarco. Good evening to you, Mr. Jake. Hope all is well with you and yours. Thanks for packing this torch with style and integrity. My pleasure. I finally got your box en route. Enjoy and thanks. Carrying the best text in. Awesome, man. I'm glad. And when anyone has anything coming from me, if there's a little delay, you must excuse, but I will never not send you your stuff. All right, next up. Thank you, Jim. It was in my front right pocket, actually in the little slip, which is breaking in very nicely. Next to the amphibian was my brand new mini cyborg jack. The current release, this just is coming out. Oh, this just came out last Friday. What a great one. This is a great one. And while I have it out, I'm going to show you a few comparisons. I very much like the Ben Belkin original pattern of the cyborg, which the cyborg jack here. Let me see. Maybe against my pasty white hands, it will show. But you can see it's got the overall curve of a sow belly, like his javelina jack, but it's all faceted and angularized. And it looks like it might be uncomfortable, but actually it is extremely comfortable and fits the hand perfectly, including even this little facet where your pinky just sort of sinks in. And this, of course, is a smallerized version of this right here. That's the original cyborg jack from fall 2022. This one is in micarta, which is a material that Jack Wolf Knives is not featuring these days. Just doesn't sell as much as the crazy exotic stuff that he's been putting on. And I get that. Me, myself, I'm very grateful. I have a bunch of the micarta releases. But as you can see, it's a little bit smaller, not too much smaller, but I got to say it's perfect. It is that perfect size range for me for a slip joint. And if I were to carry this without the leather slip, where did I put that other one? Oh, here it is. If I were to carry it without the leather slip, it would be the perfect size to bang around in the pocket without it. But I'm trying to keep this blasted titanium as pristine as possible for as long as possible, though I'm very tempted to just throw it in there with some pocket change and get it all snail trailed up because I love that too. But look at this in comparison with the little bro jack. It is the same size and it's perfect. It's a perfect little size. Great contrast between these two clip point blades. More of a traditional clip point, like a Sheffield clip point on the top boy's knife, and then the one on the bottom is evocative of a Lanny's clip meets an Americanized Tonto. To me personally, I love the blade on this. Again, full height hollow ground, and on this one, a horizontal hand rub satin finish. So beautiful knife. Those are available in 5 different configurations. 2 very exotic. Look, one of them is pink acrylic, swirly acrylic with black bolsters and PVD black blade. That thing is cool. Pinky Tuscadero is what I would call that for sure. That's Fonz's girlfriend, if you don't remember. Well, it'd have to be Pinky too for me because I already have a knife called that. And then there's one with another exotic acrylic, one with a really nice kind of golden carbon fiber that looks to me in pictures like wood, like burl wood. It's very nice. And then this titanium, and then a swirly black and white carbon fiber. So a lot of 5 great options for this knife. And I think that this one, I kind of feel like if you're gonna only get one Jack Wolf knife, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get the mini cyborg jack or the or the big side, the regular size Cyborg jack, if you can find it, or if it's re-released, because so far it's the one truly original design, meaning like a lot of the other designs haven't seen too much before, like the coffin handled midnight jack with the beautiful sheep's foot blade. I mean, you see some of that stuff around, but you've never seen this handle before, and this blade is quite unique. So if you're tempted by a Jack Wolf knife, but they are expensive, and you're just like, I got one, and then I'm going to move on, this would be a great one. A, for the size, and B, it's an original pattern, and there aren't too many original patterns out there with slip joint knives. Andy Armstrong of Rosecraft does do some original designs too. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. Okay, next up on me, I had the Nova 2. Nova 2. I'm loving this thing. This is awesome. I'm going to show it next to the Nova 1 prototype. This is the Nova 2 prototype. There it is next to the Nova 1. So slightly longer, more slender blade. But the size of the Nova 2 is perfect. I don't get me wrong, I love the Nova 1, but I'm also loving the slightly longer blade on the Nova 2. The one thing it does present is a slightly longer sheath, but if you can handle that, I'm an in the waistband guy, and it's not bothering me, the extra length, and that's so that's saying something. These, of course, I will announce when these are going up for pre-order, but just to keep things simple and streamlined between me and Matt Chase, and dealing with his production schedule, this will be another week or two off, and then we're going to go open it up, and we'll keep it open for a while. It won't be like, oh my God, you have to jump in, unless a lot of people flood in and it's more than he can handle. But he's a Marine, a former Marine. He can handle a lot. All right, last up on me for emotional support today, I had the beautiful Talwar. I've been carrying this thing a lot, whether it be around the house or just throwing it in my backpack. Again, for emotional support, whether it's confidence or fidgetability. And yes, this is fidgetable. Here, I'll do this in the main cam. You just every one of these sort of DeMarco triad lock knives has a ricasso big enough to drop the blade on, stop it, and do that. So love this thing so much. And I missed out on the Talwar first time around, and my brother has one in his guest bedroom, and I was staying with him about a year ago, and I was like, why did I never buy this knife? And then when it was re-released, I still waited on it, and then I finally got it. But it had to be with the serrations. So look at this compared to the Nova 2, my fixed blade, and even compared to the very large amphibian. It's a big one. All right, so this is what I had on me. The Talwar, the Nova 2, the Mini Cyborg, and the amphibian. Let me know what you guys were carrying. Some of you already have, but help with EDC. If you were saying, thank God some of you guys carry 3 knives, get ready, because some of these dudes carry up to 10. Up to 10. It's true. And it's not even going in their backpack. It's going in their pockets, which is crazy to me, but crazy in a good way. Oh, yeah. And thanks, Jim. He's throwing up a reminder. I'm going to show you this real quick. Thanks to OG Blades, Dave. And I won't say this too much, but OG Blades is formerly This Old Sword Blade Reviews. He's changed his name and his logo, and OG Blades. I love it. Couldn't be more apt. Fits perfectly. So anyway, you know that Dave has a penchant for sending me some of his awesome knives to share with you guys, and this is one of them from not the current batch that he just sent that I showed off last week, but this is from the batch before that, and I've been sort of jealously holding on to it, but it's time to let it go. Ebony handled Backlash. Beautiful, beautiful, dense wood. This feels different, like I mentioned. Feels different than I don't have it within reach, but like some of the other Wii's and some of the other Civivis with the wood handles that have that Giuberto wood or whatever it's called, feels much lighter, much less dense. This black ebony wood is stunning. and feels substantial. It's not heavy, but it feels substantial. 9 CR MOV, deeply hollow ground clip point blade with a choil. This thing is awesome. And of course, it has Civivi action. So, you can do this all day long. All right, we're going to be giving this away in about 20 minutes. All you got to do is put #knife in the comments, #knife to win the Civivi Backlash, #knife. I'm going to say this a few times in case you're sharpening and you're not hearing me. #knife to win this classic Civivi Backlash, but not in that old school cheesy gold liner configuration when they first came out. This is in beautiful black ebony wood in 9CR satin finished deep hollow ground. So that's coming up. OG Blades, speak of the devil. OG Blade says, today's carry, concept accipiter. Oh, in Damascus. My God, that thing is stunning. So Dave posted a bunch of pictures of this today. And the accipiter I really like. I very much like that knife, and I always look for a full-size one, or there was a period of time, and they were hard to find. But they have this new one out with the Damascus. It's new, right? Tie and copper carbon fiber. My God, it's gorgeous. And the Maxace Vortex, that's another one that's super cool. That's a recurve Tonto that you've been showing off, and other people have been showing off. That thing is pretty awesome, too. Stitch Ramlock. Oh my gosh, man. Fluted aluminum, natural, clear, apocalyptic. Oh, dude, I didn't know that. Okay. So your Stitch Ramlock, I thought that was green, OD green G10, but that's that natural aluminum with the clear finish. Apocalypse. That's sweet. That is sweet. I like that. And you have that also with the SOCOM. If you ever get to the point where you're like wanting to unload some microtext because you're past that phase, well, let me know. I'm interested in the clear. Vosteed Hedgehog and Nightcore P23i. What's the Hedgehog? That's the new one, right? Just gonna compare. Okay. That's the new one, right? All of a sudden, I'm like, maybe I'm going through menopause. I'm super hot. All right. 5-Door says, ideal carry, a big 3-folder and a GEC. What's a big 3? Oh, yes, I agree. The old school, not the new old school, but the old school. So you're talking a Chris Reeve knife, Sebenza will say, an SMF or an XM18. Am I right? A Hinder, a Strider, or a Chris Reeve. And a GEC. I agree. That is ideal, but you're missing one thing. And that's a fixed blade knife. Splitting Slices says, but if that's not, and you have a bag or you have a car, you can still have a fixed blade knife. You don't want it on your person. Just saying. Byron says, wait, OG Togata. Oh, yeah. Road trip in Quantico. So you were there all night? Never retired, are you? Nice. That's funny. Dave, I didn't think Dave was a Marine, but definitely capable in the violence department, let's say. Danny DeCito said, Dave, were you a Marine? I don't think you were you? Denny said, if so, that would blow my mind. I feel like I've met so many Marines doing the Knife Junkie podcast. It's so cool because my brother-in-law is a Marine and some very close family friends. So I've always had an affinity, but in meeting all of these knife makers, so many of them are Marines. It's cool. That's cool. Danny DeCito says, carried a Hogue EX01 Tonto. I love that. I had that one. I gave that away or traded it, sold it. But that's one I kind of miss. Elishewitz design. I love everything he does. Lex Rex custom shard and a GEC 71 in burlap micarta 71. Trying to remember what the 71 is. Very nice carry, sir. And you got your 3 bases covered, which is nice. Emerson Wave Super CQB. Oh, okay. So an Emerson Super 7. But what's the 7.8? I have a Super CQ B7 Tonto, but what's the 8? Or is that a mistype? Anyway, broke Arizona blades. You're not the author. Let the author do their job. Broke Arizona knives. Hey, all. Hello back. Good to have you with us here, sir. Broke Arizona knives. James Moore says, Bob, for your information, Henko makes fancy flashlights. Okay. Let me put it to you in a way you'll understand. Hogtooth. That's right, sir. This is a hogtooth. That's the Ruffian. Here's the Little Ruffian, which I have on good word is going to be made mine, which I'm excited about. And here's the Nova 2, co-designed by me and the Nova 1. These two co-designed by me and Matt Chase and made by Matt Chase. Yes, hogtooth knives. Love saying that. Nova 2, woohoo, says Dion Page. Yes, sir. Split and Slices says, love the Kent angle on the number 2, Bob D. Yeah, that's the Kiradashi special. So there are 3 knives that really came from. The folding Kiradashi from Cold Steel. But the 2 big influences, the Contact by Dirk Pinkerton, made by Asymmetrical, and then the shape of the blade, that's that upward sweep. And the Hinderer half-track Warncliffe blade has that upswept Kiradashi edge, but it also has a really acute point, which I love. So yeah, this is that's my take on the Kiradashi. It started out as my take on the sax, but then I realized this is not really a sax at all. This is a Kiradashi. So I leaned into it. You know how modern people lean into things? I leaned into Kiradashi. Yes. Oh, and by the way, let's stop saying especially, because it's especially. All right. Thank you. Craig Vincent. That's just me channeling some dad energy. Sorry about that. Craig Vincent says, today was the 8010, the 8010 light Tonto. By the way, I love the 8010 with the Tonto. I think I like it better than with the drop point, though I don't have it. XL Voyager Spear Point. That XL Voyager Spear Point is the only Voyager that has jimping, and I wish they would add jimping to the rest of them. I love that Spear Point blade. It reminds me a lot of a barong. This knife here, the Vaquero serrated Airlight Spear Point, which, by the way, Mattisfaction had a short up today where he had the Airlight Spear Point, and he said, is this better than a Bug Out? And I don't know. I don't have the Airlight, but I thought, it's a lot less expensive, and it's got a triad lock, and it's light and thin. I think it's a little longer, and you have an option to go Tonto, so it just might be. G10 Verdict Tonto, Kershaw Iridium. Oh, I love that knife. That's such a good knife. Kaiser Phoenix, speaking of Mattisfaction. New Breed Clydesdale, Rough Rider Stoneworks Peanut. Very nice, Craig. Very nice. I like how you're branching outside of Cold Steel. Obviously a Cold Steel heavy carry, but you're not just staying in that lane, you know? You're branching out, and I respect that. Frankie Frank says, so Bob, I have this question I've been meaning to ask you. I have this Strider knife fixed blade, that I got as a gift in 2009. Very nice gift, man. Do you happen to know the value of this piece by any chance? I'm not sure which one it is. I know it'll be valued high. They're expensive. I mean, I've looked at the Strider fixed blade knives every year at their booth, and getting a new one made this year is expensive, but an old one from 2009, I think it will be a pretty high value, but I don't know which one you're talking about. Let me know. They've made so many different kind of one-offs and different shapes but they also have some series. Very, very, I like their fixed blades a lot. Robert Von Dar says, must have that Talwar. Dude, yes, you must. Yes, it is such a good knife. It feels really good in hand. So good that I was like, they need to do this handle with a clip point and with a couple of other blades, because the handle is so good. And it has more of an arc than, say, the Voyager. So the Voyager, it ends in a pistol grip, so you can still hold it like that. But that overall arc, if you grab the knife back here, which is quite comfortable, it presents the blade at a totally different angle, at a kukri angle, at a recurve angle, and makes this thing, well, it's great. Dion Page says, I want the Talwar. I want a Talwar, but want a Nova 2 way more. 42, please, King Junkie. Dion, I'm pretty sure I have that request in a folder in my email, but could you resend it just in case? I want to make sure that I get the right numbers to the right people. And I got to say, thank you so much for maybe foregoing the Talwar to get one, because, they're neither of them are inexpensive. The Nova 2 will be, a lot more expensive, but I appreciate that. James Moore, that's my favorite Civivi, he says. That's cool. It's in wood, though. It's in wood, but, and I know, and I say that to James because he doesn't like natural materials on knives, but I urge you, sir, to put #knife in the comments. I would love for you to win this knife. I would love for every one of you to win this knife, but it'd be interesting, and then you could give it away or sell it or whatever if you just couldn't live with the dense, very nice, dense, rich black ebony wood. This could be your travel knife. This could be your, gotta loan a knife to a friend knife. Or you could give it back and we could resell it or re-give it or whatever. But no, I want you to have it in hand and check it out, because it might change your mind about natural materials. He's like, no, Civivi is changing my mind about natural materials. But in any case, since it's your favorite, please, I urge you, put #knife in the comments. I urge all of you to put #knife in the comments, especially if you're in the contiguous United States. But if not, I'll still send it to you. I will just send knives to anyone, anywhere. I don't care. Let Australia come get me. Will B says, Grimsmo Norseman, Olamic Soloist. Oh, wait. Okay. Hinderer XM24 Battlefield Pickup Sponto, ZT0300. Very nice. Benchmade Rift. I think the finest looking, anyway, of the Contigo Rift and 940 kind of series. The Wee Ziphius, the Axial Shift, the T-Kel Night Stalker CQC, Olight Baton 3, and Karis Bolt V2. Nice pen, a nice flashlight, and a bunch of sweet knives. Excuse me. Autumn Wind. Pardon me. Nice to have you here, Autumn Wind. CKF Evo 4. Plain Jane with GEC 15 Beer Scout. Yes. I have the 15 Beer Scout. I do not have the Evo 4, and I would love to. And that's the knife I was trying to remember before when we were talking about that Kunwu Padre. Both of those have those big, broad knives with little clips at the tip. They're so cool. Very nice. Doug Bowl says, oh, and I love the hollow grind on that, on the Evo. Doug Bowl, nice to have you here, Doug. Hi, Bob, and all members of the Blade. Used an axe to break up some tree branches from our recent storms. Ooh. Yeah, I know a lot of the country's getting hammered, and we are just sort of keeping out of it here for some reason, but I think we're far enough east and south. But best of luck to you, and I'm glad you used that axe to smash stuff up. Have you ever used a machete? Curious, because machetes are awesome, even for big wood. Like a large red oak tree, about this round, I got all the way through with a machete, U.S. Army machete. It was awesome. Anyway, Five Door says, I'll add a fixed blade to the ideal carry when the Nova 2 is released. Oh, stop. Oh, shucks. Okay. That works for me. OG Blade says, nope, never served, but was a military brat born in a base in Okinawa. Oh, okay. All right. Well, like I said, served or not, we're talking to a man who understands. That's for damn sure. Rob's Nerdy Knives. Nice to have you here, Rob. So I just started buying fixed blades and have now added the McNeese fixed blade to my collection, along with my Dread Eye. Oh, nice. I will likely add more. Okay, so let me show a couple of other mores that might be added. Ow, oof. It's sharp, people. Put this back. All right, so if you want to check out some rather inexpensive but quite awesome fixed blade knives, I might look here and here first. So this is from Civivi and this is from Sencut. The Civivi is the Tomashi E. This is designed by the great and powerful Bob Terzuola, and it is a freaking awesome knife. This one is the green canvas micarta with the black blade. This thing is so nice. Beautifully made. Look, you can see it's a full tang blade, but it's got a fully encapsulated tang. So the whole thing is micarta. You can see the seam down the center, and it's got a great blade. And then this one, the Waxahachie, has a great shaped. It's like the Civivi Cogent clip point, and then the lightning holes in here. This thing is awesome. Rob says, I'm driving and listening from the car, just in case I don't get to answer while on the road. I hear you, man. Don't worry about this. I'll yammer at you, and you don't need to be texting while you drive. But that makes you a captive audience. You can't interrupt me. I'm going to tell you all the knives you need. Yeah, these two are excellent. I also should have pulled out the Fred Perrin designed Street Bowie, but I threw mine and broke the tip, and I have to reprofile it. Reverend Hollander, nice to have you here, sir. My favorite combo: a Car 9mm and a Benchmade Osborne automatic. The Osborne automatic. Which one is that? The Car 9mm. Those are cool. The PM9, is that a car? I remember Nut and Fancy was into car pistols, and for a while before I got mine, after I moved out of the state of New York, I was researching, and I think I was looking at car arms. They're pretty sweet. Have a Knife Day says everyone needs to hang out with Marines. I couldn't agree with you more. You are like a service human for them. Jokes and paratrooper. That's funny. A service human. That's hilarious, man. I find and I know it's not endemic to the Marine Corps. It's just I have most experience there, but I love the gallows humor. And every Marine I think that I've met and or worked with have been somewhat unflappable, not prone to like flip out or panic. And it's terrible being around people. I work with a few. It's terrible being around people who are panicky by nature, even when there's nothing to panic about. I mean, like I think the time to panic is when you're in a inflatable boat and an orca like bites it and it starts to deflate. Then it's like, okay, go ahead and panic. You're dead anyway, pretty much, probably. So if that's how you want to spend your last few minutes, go for it. But like in every other situation, it just leads to worse situations. So anyway, all the Marines I've met are unflappable, at least as far as I've seen them pushed. Rob said, I'm carrying a Brian Brown Jaeger V3. Very nice. I like that Jaeger a lot. Sharp by Design Damasteel Apex and McNeese 3V Ridge Runner. Very nice. I have McNeese knuckle dusters hanging over on the wall. I like him a lot. He was. I did an interview with him. He's a cool dude. If you haven't been watching for that long, go back and check out that episode. Just put in Knife Junkie and McNeese, and it'll pop up. Doug Bowles says, also used my 12-inch blade to take care of smaller branches. Bowies are great choppers, as you know. Yes, they are indeed. Frankie Frank says, description of the Strider blade: 7 to 8 inches, drop point, green paracord, S30V, made in USA, mint condition, probably the only knife I don't play with. Don't plan on selling, just wondering. You know what? Look on a good place to do that kind of research is on Arizona Custom Knives. Arizona Custom Knives, I'm pretty sure they still have the prices for all of their sold knives. You know how some places well, they sell something that you can't see the price. And they Arizona Custom Knives they'll have shitloads of Striders, I swear. Go check it out over there. You might find what they sold that or a knife similar for it. The one thing is that Striders are known for doing a lot of one-offs and very small runs of certain shapes. So, oh, felony stop. I didn't bring it out, but it was close. I had it. David Nephilim Slayer. Good to have you here, Mr. Nephilim Slayer. Always good to. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want to tell you a story in a second, but the felony stop I was going to pull out. I love that knife. Anything by Lacey Zabo is pretty sweet. And you're talking about Spyderco Zabo Black. David Nephilim Slayer. I was telling, okay, my daughter, they have a half day tomorrow. I'm Mr. Mom right now, so they're like, and I am more of the pushover of the two, me and my wife, when it comes to the girls anyway. And my older daughter had all this math that they really push these girls. They're in 8th grade, and these kids get a lot of work. But they gave them, she had 89 problems to do tonight. And she's like, oh God, it's a half day tomorrow. We're just going to mass. We're not doing anything else. You're like, can I just skip? I'm still not feeling well and all this. And I'm like, it's not happening. And I said, this is what happened when King David didn't suit up and go to war that one spring. And then he saw Bathsheba and fell in lust with her and, took her and impregnated her and then went and had Uriah killed and all this. Because I'm listening to the Bible in your podcast. It's not like I have all this stuff at my ready, but I just recently had heard this story and I was like, see, this is what happens when you stop doing what you know you should do, even if it's something as simple as just showing up to school. Even if you've kind of jacked up your math homework, you still got to show up. And if you don't, bad things happen. And my daughter was just like, really, Dad? You're comparing me to King David and Bathsheba? I'm like, in this case, yes. So do your math and go to bed so you can get up and go to school. It's not the weekend yet. Except here on Thursday Night Knives. Split and slices, improvise, adapt, overcome. Yep. What is this panic TKJ mentions? Absolutely. Some people, and I have personal experience with this, some people reach a more calm state in a state of crisis and are able to solve problems better than just in everyday life. That is an interesting phenomenon. Dwayne Letterman says, evening, Bob and everybody. Well, Dwayne, great to have you here, man. As always, pens and pen blades. I love it. I love pens too. Says, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you, sir. I was looking over here because I was like, where's my favorite? Here's a pen that I love. And it's very pedestrian for you, I'm sure, sir. But I love this thing. And now I'm going to try and remember the brand. Oh, yeah. It's an Eco. It's a great fountain pen. It's very inexpensive, and you can get them in different colors, but it writes beautifully. I love this pen. And I like, there's a certain, I don't remember the ink, but I like the standard blue-black. But I ended up getting purple for this, purple-black, and it looks really cool. So anyway, pens are always welcome here, just as are all the other adjacent, knife-adjacent hobby collect, like watches, love watches. Pens, I love pens. Guns, I love guns. Cars, I love cars. I can't afford to collect all those things. I collect knives, but I'd love to have a collection of cars. How cool would that be? But then you'd have to have a collection of garage space to keep those cars in. And you'd have to heat it and then keep it cool and all that. Have a Knife Day says, I was at an event at the Battleship Iowa today. How cool. For a leadership summit, which coincides with Fleet Week. I live right outside DC. We're going to have Rolling Thunder. I ended up giving a CRKT Zolotl black to a sailor. He is a shoot rigger on the Carl Vinson. How cool! How cool! Carl Vinson. That's a isn't that a marine landing craft? Or not, but one of those big craft that has marine landing ships and helicopters and stuff on it. Is that what that is? That ship? Anyway, Rob says, so recommendations for USA blade between approximately 7 and 8 inches. The Civivi ones look cool. USA, hearing a lot of great things about Montana Blade Company, though I have not experienced them. I'd like to have him on the show and talk with him. Montana Blade Company. Of course, I have to recommend Hogtooth. I love Hogtooth knives. I have to recommend TKL knives, great American-made knives. I mean, like really awesome. A lot of people here in the chat tonight have mentioned that they have TKL knives. And for that 7 to 8 inches, I guess his biggest one is the Sapper. And for those, Rob, you got to wait a little bit because he's a batch maker, because his hands touch every knife, even though, a number of people work on them. But so TKL is a great one. Excuse me. Anything by Bark River Knives is going to be excellent. I just don't know what they're offering at the current moment. Let's keep it there for a second. And as other stuff trickles in, I mean, there are so many in terms of custom guys out there, and you can just look at my playlist and glean what you want from that too. But yeah. Pen says, oh, Twisby. Yeah, that's right. Twisby Eco, great pen and great capacity. Oh, okay. So for ink, right? Yeah, this one does have great capacity. And I got this one because I think somewhere, that's a pretty big. I think somewhere I read that, like a Safari, it's kind of built to withstand how like a European school student would treat it. Throw it in a bag, pull it out, whatever, it's just a pen. And I got that because I wanted to carry it and put it in my pocket and stuff, and not really necessarily worry about how it's oriented, though I'm always going to drop it in like this. And not have it, I don't know what the pen words are, but not have it kind of like leak out. And this thing is great and robust. I love this knife. Twisby Eco, you guys check it out. It's inexpensive, and if you like writing with a fountain pen, it is awesome. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, okay. This is the one last time I'm going to pitch this, and then we'll give this away shortly. #knife in the comments will win you this Backlash, quite possibly. Backlash 9CR 18 MOV from Civivi. That's the blade, of course, and then the handle is a gorgeous, sumptuous, dense, and robust dark ebony. So #knife is all you have to do. Put that in the comments, and your name will be entered, that #knife, and your name will be entered into the random number generator in a moment, and we will choose who gets this knife. Rob says, I work best in states of crisis. Yes. I'm a late deadline guy myself, or 11th hour guy myself. It comes with my job. I am an analyst supporting those who protect us. How cool. All right. I am very close with someone who does something very similar. The Carl Vinson is an aircraft carrier. Okay. Thank you. The USS Carl Vinson, CVN 70. So CVN is the designation for a super carrier, right? Nice. HAKD, dagger-esque, CRKT blade blackout. Nice. HAKD. Uh-oh. I'm a dagger-esque HAKD. What's an HAKD? I'm trying to figure that out. Angry Tom's hat next door. Good to have you, Angry Tom. Today I am carrying my Black Talon 2, an excellent choice, and my Jack Wolf Knives Vampire Jack Dark Matter Red. Beautiful. Okay, so I have the Vampire Jack in the blue carbon fiber and then in the jigged titanium. And I remember seeing it in that red dark matter and loving it. I am in a very, very fortunate and lucky position that Ben Belkin of Jack Wolf Knives sends me a a new Jack Wolf knife every time it comes out, and he's a very, very generous guy. He says it's because, well, I mean, I take him at his word, but we did a lot of talking about the company before he ever created it right here on this show. And I'm not saying it was birthed here, but it got a lot of discussion here. And then he announced he was going to start the company here. So I'm very grateful for the scoop, the exclusive scoop, so to speak. And he was very grateful to give it to me. So I get these amazing knives from him. And at this point, I can't believe how awesome and fortunate I am. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I'm all over the place these days with knife acquisitions. This week, I had a big Bowie, a recent modern folder, and a circa 1930s Coca-Cola slip joint traditional. I love that. Oh, I love that, dude. I hope to settle down soon. Don't settle down. And what I mean by that is, you can settle down in terms of frequency, but I love that you're all over the place. A big Bowie, a recent folder, a 1930s antique. I mean, I have stuff like that all around me. The stuff on the wall, it's all, well, all this stuff is antiques pretty much. Almost. And I love that. I love that variety because I am definitely a variety is the spice of life kind of guy, especially in my knife collection. Because you can't do that in all parts of your life. You cannot do that with your job. Variety is the spice of life. You cannot do that with your spouse. Variety is the spice of life. And unless you're like very liquid and a man or woman of great resources, you can't just like swap out cars and stuff like that all the time. Some people can, but most of us can't. So, well, there you have it. Need I say anymore? Like, please don't. Pens and Penblade says, do you know a good place to buy swords? Well, it depends. So what kind of swords do you want? If you want like a whole host of historical swords that are well made, I have two suggestions. Cold Steel, obviously. Cold Steel has so many period accurate swords out there based on swords, actual historical swords from Lynn Thompson's personal collection and others. Battle ready, so to speak. You can take them and bang on them like you would a sword that was issued to a soldier. But they're going to be stronger because they're made out of modern materials with modern processes. The other place I would recommend, and I know that there are many more, but this is for something somewhat affordable and stuff that I know. There are plenty of other places that I don't know of, I'm sure, that sword guys would be able to tell you, HEMA guys and that kind of thing. But look to Windlass Cutlery. Windlass, some people might be, but Windlass Cutlery is out of India, and they do a lot of OEMs of the larger swords, larger knives, and some of the swords for Cold Steel, and they're very well made. If you have a Wild West Bowie, or if you have a 1917 Bowie, or if you have the Sax, the Chieftain Sax, or any any number of Cold Steels, they're made there in India at Windlass Cutlery. So I wouldn't poo-poo them either. Okay, so we have 46 people watching, and we have 26 people who want a free knife. We're gonna do this in another 3 minutes. 3 minutes at 1:17. 1:17 in. We're gonna do this. So if you want this free knife, just all you got to do is type in 6 characters, #knife in the comments. And this could go on the wheel or in the random number generator and could become yours. All right. 3 more minutes. We'll do that. So yeah, Windlass Cutlery and Cold Steel. Now, when I was at Blade Show last year, I talked with a guy and I lost his contact information, and it drove me nuts because I really wanted to talk to him for a while, and now I'm gonna have to seek him out again. CV, Carrier, and Nuclear. Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to talk to him again, but oh my God, these guys were making incredible European swords, double-edged cruciform kind of swords. Oh God, gorgeous. But I don't remember their names. So there are a lot of sword makers out there, and I'm just not totally keyed in. Jason Lotz, nice to have you here, Jason. I like the Backlash better than the Elementum. I gave my Elementum to my mailman. Oh, you're cool, dude. That's cool. Well, put in #knife. I hope this is yours. Will B says, check Sword Buyer's Guide if you want info on swords. They have reviews and reviews of sword stores. Thanks, Will. That's awesome. I'm going to have to check that out too. Sword Buyer's Guide. If you want info on swords, they have reviews and reviews of sword stores. That sounds like your place, Rob. Dion Page says, I went through the entire, it looks like the N on your keyboard isn't working. I went through the entire stock of 8 cold steel leather necks. Oh, there we go. It works. At Fleet Farm today. Entire stock. I went through the entire stock of 8 cold steel leather necks at Fleet Farm today. I'm not sure what Fleet Farm is, to get one that didn't rattle. Oh, and had a proper American Tonto grind. It was disheartening to say the least. Ooh. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. I remember hearing stuff about the leather neck when it came out, even back when Lynn Thompson was at the helm. And so I always kind of veered away from it, though that new leatherneck Bowie, the big one that came out last year, looks kind of nice. Hadn't heard of Windless Cutlery. Thank you, says Pens and Pen Blades. My pleasure. Hey, I was really into, well, I've always been into like the Bronze Age Greeks, the Odyssey and that kind of stuff. And for a period of time, a long time ago, I was like, oh, I should get a whole panoply and the weapons and everything. And I was looking a lot at Cult of Athena. That's what it was called. A website called Cult of Athena that had swords and spears. And I think a lot of their stuff was from Windless. Very cool. Chapstop/stick hack slice that button, junkies, says Dion Page. I would not mind. Angry Tom says, I didn't come for the free knife. I came because I dig the content. But that blade is pretty sweet. Hey, Angry Tom, I appreciate it. No matter why you come here, that's cool. But that's why I didn't announce the free blade. It's like, I want only the people who really want to be here, man. Edgy American says, I've never had a Backlash, but it's always been my favorite, Civivi. I've noticed a number of misspellings. It's actually Baklash. They don't have time for the C. Edgy American says, front flippers and bodies can both go away. What? Front flippers, I understand, but bodies can both go away. I have a feeling that's a fat finger, but tell me what that is. Not bodies. It can't be bodies. Bodies can't go away. It's got to be something else. Will B says Cult of Athena is a reputable dealer. Okay, cool. Sounds like Will has been down this road. Medieval and Renaissance are my favorite sword era. Oh, do you watch Scala Gladiatoria? He's awesome. And he's not recommending modern branded blades or swords, but he's a British guy. He talks all about all different eras of swords, and he's a HEMA guy, and he's a cool, his content is awesome. If you don't know it, Scala Gladiatoria, British dude. Check it out. Swords as long as the day is. Swords. As many swords as the day is long. Doug Bull says, Bob, I found my 20-year-old Radio Shack brushed metal twist version with time and date LED readout with new batteries. Works great. Got it when I was a rookie. Wait, what is this, though? It was from Radio Shack. It was brushed metal. It was the twist version with time and date, LED readout with new batteries. But what was it? I don't know what you're talking about. And I meant Bowie's. Jeez. Really? Bowie's? You're one of you have American in your name, my brother, and you're willing to get oh my gosh. Hang on one second. Sorry, I had to text the wife who was stuck at O'Hare, no longer. Okay. All right, let's do this, Jim. Sorry, I've been lollygagging now. All right, let me put these knives out of the way so I don't stab myself. Love this thing. The Tomashi E. And it's only like $60 from Civivi. And then this one is great. This is 9CR, really easy to carry. The Waxahachie, and man, sharp, very, very sharp, and a great Bowie shape, clip point shape. All right, let's give this knife away. Oh, my nose is so itchy. All right. But I'm picking it up with the one I didn't touch my nose with. And by the way, people, just so you know, before I send knives out, I go through the I go through the Alex protocol, the watch and cut protocol. I swab the whole sucker down with alcohol so that you're not getting my finger grease and you're not getting my fingerprints. And if I do this and touch it, you're not getting my bacteria or any nastiness. I swab down these knives so that they're as new as I can give them to you. And the way I get them, most of these giveaway knives, many of them come from Dave, OG Blades, and they're in immaculate shape. And also, he sharpens some of these, man. They are so damn sharp. But anyway, okay, let's do this. Jim, shall we pull it up? And let's choose the winner in 3, 2, and 1. All right. This Civivi Backlash is going to Doug Bowl. Doug, this is yours, sir. This beautiful Civivi Backlash is yours. Now, I believe you just sent me. Did you just send me your address? Because you are a recent gentleman junkie. I think so. If not, please do. And I apologize for not remembering the details of whether I have your address or not. But I am so happy, Doug Bowl. This is going to you, and I'm going to write this down just because it makes things easier for me tomorrow. Doug Bowl, winner. All right. And this is way better than a chicken dinner. You could sell this knife and get a few chicken dinners. All right, I'm going to put this up here. And very, very happy. Doug Bowl, my pen. Okay. All right. Bob, I found my 20-year-old Radio Shack brushed metal twist version. Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know this pen. I know it had the little digital clock kind of right up towards the top in a little window. Oh, how cool. That's awesome, man. I love that. Robert Strebin, nice to have you here, Robert. Hey, Bob, Jim, and junkies out there. What are you carrying, Robert? We've all kind of divulged our EDC. Let us know what you were carrying today. Pens and Pen Blades says, I used to watch Scala, but he ditched someone else in the community and haven't watched him since. But he ditched someone else. Oh, you mean like there was some friction, some cross-channel friction? That sucks. That sucks. Hate to see it. Help with EDC says, careful waving that knife around. I got 8 stitches when I was a youngster playing with a boot knife while sitting on a couch. Tip caught my leg and gave it a good slice open. I hear you. Help with EDC. I am so this is not a brag. This is actually to say I have been so careless in my past, and then also with the added confidence of doing Kali, where I've like, oh, nothing, I'm really good with, and then I've stabbed and cut myself pretty badly. Thank the heavens, not in any place vital. Never cut my, I have cut myself on the wrist, but it was with something dull, and it was a cooking thing. But I've stabbed myself in the legs a bit, and thank heavens I've missed the main parts. Oh wait, what was that last one from Byron? But thank you for your concern. I do appreciate it. I highly recommend everyone is careful and don't play with knives on stairs. Splitting Slices says, no DeMarco finger grease or togadas. No, sir. No finger grease. Jason Lotz, nice to have you here, Jason. I like this knife channel better than the loud guys with all the titanium folders. Don't forget the thumbs up. Thank you, Jason. I can get pretty loud, but I appreciate that. I like a lot of those loud guys too. A lot of great people. I remember someone saying once, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Shane who said like, my friend or my roommate will only allow me to listen to you, or something like that. And I was like, oh, stop. Say it again. What? Tell me about my eyes. Doug Bowl says, wow, thanks, Bob. Oh, you're my pleasure. You're a scholar and a gentleman. I appreciate that. That's an old school compliment that I like. Penblade says, getting stabbed is worse than getting cut. So I've told the story a million times, but you haven't heard it, I'm guessing. So when I was living in Brooklyn in my 30s and living in a loft, it was like, it was cool. It was fun and it was great. And it was expensive and stupid and all those things. But anyway, a friend of mine was having a party down the hall. And at the party, he showed me a sword cane. And I was like, oh, check this out. And like a little circle cleared. And I pulled out the sword cane. And this was at one of the heights of my Kali powers. And I was just doing some really cool looking Carenza, shadow boxing with the blade and using the cane part and doing some really cool stuff. And then I went and stuck it like about 3 inches into my calf. And by the time I did that, everyone else was like, who's this idiot? And no one was paying attention to me anymore. And I kind of looked up after having stabbed myself and realized, oh, not only did I just do this stupid thing, but I'm like trying to get attention and no one's paying me attention. And then no one saw the cool stuff I did before I stabbed myself in the leg. So I just removed it and sheathed it and just casually walked out and went to my apartment, which was a couple doors down, and spent a little while cleaning it up and showed back up, and no one was the wiser. And I was like, wow. Showing off is stupid when you're drunk and have a sword. Angry Tom says, I'm from Seattle. Do you get a lot of people from the Pacific Northwest chime in? Not too many. I get a lot of, I feel like we get a lot of Australia and California. I know very different places, but I'm trying to think of places in different time zones. But on the West Coast, California, I don't know if anyone ever mentions that they're from the Northwest, but I got to say, one of the most beautiful parts of this country, and there are a lot of them. I mean, that's the cool part about this country. It's like many, many different countries in one. But man, the Pacific Northwest is one of those places that to me is just so it's perfect and beautiful. And to me, like New England, I love New England. I love the Northeast and the Northwest, coastal Northeast and Northwest. Beautiful. Craig Vincent says, Bob, do you have any experience with, no, I don't. Kukri House, kukris made in Nepal, allegedly by traditional local village bladesmiths. They claim to be the real deal and the official suppliers to the British kukris. I don't know about, or British Gurkhas. I don't know about that part, about the supplier to the British Gurkhas. But I would venture to say, I would kind of just out of hand believe that they're traditional local village bladesmiths because I'm kind of going off the model that these guys, the traditional Filipino weapons here, those really are like those kind of village bladesmiths who just want to carry on their tradition and have found a market, in the United States. If you're in the Philippines and you want a Filipino sword or knife, you can reach out your hand and grab one, apparently. I mean, presumably. But for like fancy export market, those guys are still going to be making them because they know how to make them. They're definitely handmade knives. But so I guess what I'm trying to say is I would believe it. But I've been wanting to get one of Donnie B. All Day's Rambo knives made by them. But follow them on Instagram and take a look. They really they look pretty legit. I mean, it does look like small makers making them. Eddie American, I don't mean small in stature, but I mean like it doesn't look like a factory pumping them out. Edgy American says, I've lost interest in tie folders. Don't care for frame locks. Is that all of them, Shane? Like, or do you still like the classics, like your VECP here, or your Strider? You're like, I never liked those, Bob. But I mean, like, here's a Omnumzon. You like those? Or is it just like the trend you don't like? Split and slices. Not only did I stab myself, nobody noticed. Nobody noticed how cool I was. Yeah. Maybe that's because you weren't cool, Bob. I am not willing to accept that possibility. Rob says, what do you think of Axial's new fixed blade? I don't know. I know nothing of it, sir. I know nothing of it. I like their shift. I like their out the fronts, but I have not seen their fixed blade. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. Reggie American, my wife says you're the only professional sounding knife YouTuber. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, I love that, man. I'll take that. Thank you. Doug says I will now retire my 30-year-old SOG folder. That's got to be the same one I have. It's not the Wildcat, but it's a smaller. Yes. I mean, I'm not saying yes, like you have to retire it, but I'm glad you have it. I've had mine since 1991, and I carried. That was like the first modern locking folder I carried. It didn't have a pocket clip, didn't have a one-handed opening, but it had all the other trappings. What a great knife. Edgy American says, was the stab wound worse than cutting your leg while running from the cops? It was worse. Yeah. And when I cut my leg running from the cops, it was imagined like there were no cops. No one cared about me. I was just running. And I tried to go over a razor wire or the kind of wire, maybe it's concertina wire, the kind of wire that has like an H every 6 inches, an H that's like super pointy on all parts. I had one of those go right up under my kneecap, and it didn't hurt. I didn't even really feel it, but it just gushed blood like crazy. The sword stab was more painful and dramatic, but didn't seem to bleed as much and healed quicker. But that whole thing with the concertina wire, I had to walk about a half mile or mile or so or whatever to the subway, and by the time I got there, my whole foot was with blood. It was the kind of thing you expect to see on a New York subway. Robert says, Bob, had an idea for your Nova 3 if you've not thought about it yet. LOL, but I'm sure you have. I have, but I'm curious what your thoughts are. Maybe doing a folding knife with your maroon handle clip, tip up, or spine. Well, the thing is that the Nova series is definitely with Matt Chase of Hogtooth because the Nova 1 and the Nova 2 are built on his handle from his Tonto. So this is an expansion of his line with my blade designs. So the folder thing, he doesn't make folders, and actually I think he might be giving it a whirl sometime soon, but not anything on a broad level. I do like the idea though, because I love the maroon micarta. Oh, so beautiful. And it would be cool to have that thing in a folder, and it could translate. The design could translate well. I'm actually thinking of a double-edged asymmetrical fighter for Nova 3. Think the Brend Model 2. That's kind of the blade I'm thinking of. Have a Knife Day says, I purchased a khaki from a kukri from Nepal. They even sent me a video of it being forged. Very rustic. How cool. Love that. They sent me a video of it lopping off an arm. Oh, very nice. Angry Tom says, some of those big tuna knives are incredible. Big tuna. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Tuna Valley cutlery, which when GEC, Great Eastern Cutlery, was first coming on my radar and kind of on everyone's radar, Tuna Valley Cutlery was making slip joints, high-end slip joints, and they went away. I don't know what happened to them. So what's Big Tuna? I don't think I know Big Tuna. Everybody likes those blades. Those are like holy grail blades. What are they? Big Tuna. I got to know that. I got to find that out. See, like, that's why that's part of having this channel and this show, is that like all of you guys keep exposing me to stuff that I've never heard of. Never heard of and need to know. Concertina wire, aka razor wire. Okay, so it's the same thing. Constantina. Oh, I said concertina. Constantina. Craig Vincent says, sounds like a serrated Spidey fence. Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks like this. Because in my family, we're more visual than verbal. Let me just draw it out. So put it under here. Here's the wire, and it's coiled up, and then every 5 or 6 inches are these things coming out, and they get you here. They're not sharp along the edge, but they're wickedly sharp at the tip. And oh man, they just slip in. They slip in. You start feeling wet, and you're like, "Why am I all wet? Why is my leg wet?" The cop chase will forever be my favorite story. That's one that, yeah, I love that one. That is I feel like there was a period of my life where, like, through no fault of my own, I was finding myself in these urban adventures, like in neighborhoods that were dangerous or in situations that were dangerous. I'm like, how'd I end up here? A big rube in the big city. Frankie Frank says, Frank Gonzalez, Knives by Hand, make quality knives that are made in the U.S. and Nepal. Knives by Hand. Ooh, okay. Well, thanks, Frank. Frank, is this you, Frankie Frank? Are you Frank Gonzalez? If so, I'd love to see some of your knives. If not, thank you for the tip. Love it. Rob says, when I asked for recommendations on fixed, I was curious if you had any personal favorites or ones in your own collection. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let me show you a couple of things I have out. Let me close these up though. All right. So I don't know your budget. So I'll show you a couple of cool things. I've mentioned these a lot recently. Anything from Station 9 that I have is really good. I have, let's see, 4 things from them, I guess. 2 of them are, one's a little lapel dagger, one's a knuckle duster right here. But they also make some really sweet knives. I have this one, the Partisan, which is based on a chef's knife turned French knife from French World War II. These guys specialize in a lot of, World War One. These guys specialize in a lot of sort of theater knife type concepts. They have the Sear number 2, or number 8, which I absolutely love. It's a clip point, but this one is, you said 7 to 8 inches. This is 7. Here's a great one from Tops Knives. I had this one out before. This is the Wild Pig Hunter. This is awesome. It's also based on a Russian Special Forces knife design. Very, very rigid in cross section. You can see it's kind of like an I-beam in a way, and very, very great for thrusting. But no doubt great for everything else. Wild Pig Hunter. These are great. I would highly recommend any Spartan blade that you can afford, but they have now, these days, they have knives on a spectrum. So this is designed by the great and powerful and awesome William Harsey Jr., but it's not going to put you in the poorhouse. This is like $150 knife or $130 knife, something like that. His kukri. But Rob, he also, Bill Harsey Jr., an incredible designer, also has 2 other knives from the brand with this particular handle. One of them is a clip point called the Fighter, and it's sort of his take on the K-bar. And then the other one is the Dagger. You've probably seen me show off here the I can't remember what that one's called, but that one's very, very expensive. But he's got a number of these designs. Oh, there's one with a Nessmuk blade with this handle. Highly recommend those. And then here's another for instance. I could go on and on. Cold steel fixed blades are great. But if you feel like getting a classic and spending a lot of money, but having a brag-worthy knife, you could get a a Randall made. This, if you order a Randall made knife from the factory exactly how you want it, you're going to wait 5 years to get it. This happens to be exactly what I wanted from this knife, and I found it at Knife Center. They always have a small deposit of Randall mades to sell, and this happened to be. I love the Commando handle. That's the shape of this handle on the number 2. This is a 7-inch number 2. They make an 8-inch number 2 also, and I love the stack leather handle. But that said, also Bark River knives. Now, this one, for instance, this is the Bark River Knives V44 Bowie. It is not currently available because they do all of their knives in batches. But in terms of quality, I have a number of Bark River knives, and they're outstanding. And they're made in Escanaba, Michigan. They all have a very robust appleseed edge. They're beautifully made. And Dave Stewart is the guy who runs the company. Dave Stewart is a knife-making legend, knife world legend. I'd love to have him on the show. He started Blackjack Knives back in the day before he did not Randall made, before he did Bark River Knives, and he's been around for a long time. Great dude. So a lot of great fixed blades. And then, like I said, I don't have any up here. Oh, actually, I do. This is probably not what you're thinking of, but here's a Cold Steel fixed blade. They have great fixed blades. Cold Steel. There's a knife I cannot recommend more highly is the Trailmaster Bowie from Cold Steel. I've had mine for 30 years, and it's been through many adventures, and it's been banged on, and it's just a great knife. The SRK, very inexpensive if you want to get one and get a really reliable, great clip point Cold Steel or just fixed blade knife for $40. It's great. It's a great place to start. So a lot of great options. I would easily recommend starting with Cold Steel, or you could go one of these other routes here. Spartan blades, for instance. Frankie Frank says, no, I'm definitely not Frank Gonzalez, but just was reference. Yeah, it's like I'm not Bob Terzawola. Just because I mentioned Bob Terzawola doesn't mean Bob. Yeah, gotcha. But just referencing from his knives, for that one guy asking about quality kukris from Nepal. Okay, so Frank Gonzalez making some real legit kukris. I have one kukri from him, and they seem legit. Awesome. Thank you for the tip, sir. Pardon me. Robert Strebin says, my knives on me today. The Buck 870 Bones folding black camouflage tactic. What the hell is this? It's a buck knife. Buck 870 Bones folding black camouflage tactic. I don't know what that is, but I love the idea of black camouflage. Juan DeMarco, nice to have you here, Juan, and a fine last name indeed, sir. My EDC is a Ruger Security 6. What is that? Is that a Ruger made by CRKT or Ruger made by, who else made Ruger? I think I see CRKT. An Olight Baton 3 and my Swiss Army knife Spartan, love the Spartan, modified with a bit driver. Okay. And I have a CRKT Minimalist I keep in my boot. What a great knife. I carried the Minimalist for many years, and I ended up giving it to my wife's cousin's ex-girlfriend, who was a great young lady, was moving to New York City. I was like, here, take that. Robert Strebin, damn phone, LOL. A Leatherman and a Gerber splice on my keychain. Okay, nice. Juan DeMarco with a K. That's interesting. DeMarco with a K. I have a Cold Steel Espada. I love it, man. Which one? The large, the XL, or the XX? Or which Espada do you have? I love the Espada line. To me, it's the best. Bob, have to hit the sack. Doug, have a fine evening, sir. Thanks again, my friend, and we'll get my address to you. Why? Thank you, sir. I look forward to sending this backlash your way. Have a fine weekend. Rob says, so are they good for hard use in creating kindling or splitting logs if needed? I was thinking 3V or M4 or MagnaCut. I'm open to more. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about. I do know that the Partisan, there's a lot of videos of them doing that, but this is a thinner blade. So definitely capable of doing all that. But if you're going to be splitting logs and stuff, yeah, I might tend towards the Trailmaster. Not of all the knives I have, of all the fixed blade knives I have, my Trailmaster has done by far the most rugged work. It's baton. Stephen, great to have you here, sir. Stephen Clayton. It has done the most batoning of wood. It has done the most carving, feather sticking. I've sharpened it down the most. And so, definitely changing the behind the edge measurement and geometry through all the sharpening I've done with it. And it's still just, man, it just keeps kicking butt. And it's not 3V. It was like cheap SK5 or whatever the cheapest was back when I got it. I actually, they were only making it in one steel, and then they were making it also in Sanmai. So I got whatever it was then. I think it was SK5. But cold steel is so good with their heat treat. It's so good with their edges and their blades, man. If you got one of their 3V Trailmasters, you'd be good to go forever. They're so good. John Cipollone says Williams blades. Woot woot. Yeah, no kidding. Williams blade designs, very cool. John, if you haven't seen the interview I did with Mr. Williams, you got to check it out. He is a cool dude, and then he also just talks about all the ways he could kill you just by like doing that. He's a very interesting guy, and I love hearing him talk about the different uses for that particular blade shape that you see so much across the Williams designs. Craig Vincent, Chicago Knife Works, so great. That is a great place to buy cold steels, by the way. Two places, Chicago Knife Works and Midway USA, two best places to buy cold steels. Chicago Knife Works has the G10 XL Espadas for $111. Wow. Last week. That's pretty cheap, guys. And that's the G10 version, so it's more pocketable. It's thinner. Pens and Pen Blade says, I think the Buck 870 is one of their new autos. Oh, nice. Those are pretty good looking, those bolster release Buck autos. That's pretty neat. Excuse me. Something occurred to me. I was mentioning the where did I put it? Where did I put it? All right. Maybe I won't talk about that then if I can't find it. But my mini cyborg jack, which I just had. Where the hell did it go? Oh, here, it's in the slip. When I was looking at this, I was talking on my video about the purple anodized hardware, which is very fetching. And I said, like, this is about as much purple as I can put up with on a knife. And then I forgot that I had this, which always looks blue under this light, but it's purple as the day is long. And a different purple from this. This is actually more of a lilac, and this is like a deep violet. But I guess I'm going purple on my knives. But on the mini cyborg, it's just so nice. Such a nice touch. Love that. All right. So yeah, purple blades, purple knives. I had that one Warncliffe Wii from the 600 series. So that's the first year they released Wiis. I had that 700 something that had the Warncliffe blade and the purple handle. That was cool. I wish, well, if wishes were horses, beggars would ride. But wouldn't it be cool if we could have all of the knives that we've sold off just for a day, just to check them out again? Because I've gotten rid of a lot of knives, not as many as I should have, but I've gotten rid of a lot of knives over the years. And every once in a while, I'll think of them. Oh, yeah, I had that. Wouldn't it be cool to check that out again? Because we get really hot on things as they come out, and we have to have them. We finally get them, and then we lose interest and we sell them. But then later, it's kind of like, well, I should have kept that around, because I have knives here, that are old. I have I have not Spydercos, but I have a lot of knives that are very old, but knives that to me that still seem new, like my most recent era of collecting, the last 10 years. Yeah, I got a bunch of Emersons from 2013 and they still feel new to me. It's like maybe it's because of the volume of what I have, but it's like I haven't carried that so many times that it feels like it's 10 years old, but I guess it does. I guess it is. Split and Slices says, so, Knife Junkie, are you going to Blade Show Atlanta 2024, and will you be providing content from the show? Abso-freaking-lutely, bro. Bruh. Yes, sir. I will be going to Blade Show in a couple of weeks, and yeah, we'll be doing our usual. I'll be conducting interviews and then sending them to Jim. Jim will be putting a show together, and we'll be doing wraparounds on the whole 9 yards. Yeah, it's fun for me, and I know it's a lot of work for Jim, so I appreciate his effort on that. But yeah, it's so much fun. Usually at Blade Show, I end up doing interviews from the past year, catching up with people that I talked to over that year, and then some others and some new people. It's always great. What's your favorite blade steel, says Jason? Lots. Okay, this is going to be an unpopular choice. Well, actually, since it's come out and since I've got my hands on it, I actually really do like Magna Cut. It's not just flavor of the month. It is a pretty damn good steel. What do you like about it, Bob? It seems to hold its edge really well. And the couple of knives I have it on, granted, all of my knives are sharp and all of them pretty much come sharp. But I don't know if it's these knives in particular, but the Magna Cut just seems like it really takes a really awesome edge. But my favorite steel is CPM 154 or 154 CM. I love the 154s. I know it's like an old school choice, but I don't care if it's ingot or powder. I just like it. I like 154. Why do you like 154? Well, it's nicely corrosion resistant. For my purposes and my usage, it holds an edge great. It's easy to sharpen. A lot of custom knives are made in that steel for some reason. I'm not sure. I guess easy to work with, maybe. It is the American equivalent to ATS 34, which was a big one early on. Craig Vincent, I don't yet have the Trail Master Bowie, but I have the Master Hunter in 3V, so may get it. So many to get, so little time. Indeed. And I've had good experience with 3V. I don't have too much of it, but it just so happens that the 3V I do have, I've actually used and banged around outside at the family fire pit with kiln dried wood, which is a pretty good indication of the robustness of a knife. And so I do like 3V, though I don't have the vast experience a lot of people have with it, where I have needed it. Pens says, correction, the 870 is a skeletonized folder. I was wrong. Well, it takes a big man or woman to admit when they're wrong. Pen, I'm just going to assume you're a man because 98% of my audience is. Stephen Clayton says, at this moment, my son and I will be attending the Saturday session. Awesome, man. Awesome. I will be there. If you see me, I'm excited to get the TCAL Agent 001. So am I. I know he's got one to send to me. He hasn't been able to get it to me quite yet, but cannot wait for that. If you see me at Blade Show and you recognize me, please say hello. 154 CM instead of Magna Cut. He don't know. Or maybe he do. Maybe he's just old school. Rob says, do you like RWL 34 and LMAX then? I do like LMAX. I don't know that I've experienced RWL 34, but I do like LMAX. At first, my LMAX experience was with the early ZTs that were getting burned up. And but since then, they seem to have, I haven't had any problem with LMAX. What do I have recently that was... I got something not that long ago that was surprisingly in LMAX, and I really like the knife itself. So I can't remember which one, though. Robert says, what, Bob? I'm sorry. What, Bob? What is the sharpening tool that you use for your knives? Well, I love the Triangle Sharp Maker, but I have, over the past year or so, I've been using a Spyderco Stone that is 600 on one side and I think 1,000 on the other. And it has been great. Now, I haven't taken a knife from dull to sharp with this. That I would do on my Triangle Sharp Maker because I have the all the different stones I would need to do that. But with this is just great for, here, I'll do it under the knife cam. And what I've been liking about using this 600 grit stone, don't forget Spyderco started making stones and then and sharpening stuff, and then they moved into knives. So stone sharpening is in their DNA. What I like about using this is that I've for so long was a nervous stropper. Nervous meaning like I just like to do it. It's like self-soothing, it's fun, whatever. But I got a lot of the edges on my knives like really, really sharp, but also very smooth. They weren't biting into stuff. So using this 600 grit stone has been nice to give my knives a toothy edge that cuts a little better. Thoughts on AUS 10? My only experience with AUS 10 is through cold steel, and I love it. Cold steel is, like I said before, great with the heat treat. They can take a mediocre steel like AUS 8 or AUS 10 or 8CR13 MOV and get a lot out of it through their heat treat. My experience with AUS 10 is on a couple of bangers that I have folders, like my Formax is an AUS 10. Oh my God, it's great. I don't need anything more than AUS 10 personally. I'm not high speed, low drag. So I think AUS 10 will be great. CPM 154 is highly underrated, especially custom heat treat. No doubt. I mean, because that's the powder version, and you rarely hear about CPM 154. Rob says, "Hey, I will be at Blade Show and hope to get a chance to say hi. I'll attempt to do my first content there. Awesome. My wife will be assisting, so we'll see how she fares." That's so cool. So, Rob, this was going to be my first year. My daughter, when you're 14, you can come. And she was all hyped, but she's like, all of her 8th grade graduation parties are going to be on that weekend. So she's going to wait till next year. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's 12 hours on your feet with me talking about knives. Like, I don't eat lunch. I'll bring a protein bar and an apple and some water. Like, that's lunch. We're not stopping. So if you're coming with me, you're coming with me. We're not cutting out halfway through the day. Like it's obsessive. It is obsessive to the point where, you will be dehydrated and starving by the end of the day and loving it. So that's what you got to prepare for. All right, guys, I got to do this. Got knives? This is the new featured t-shirt of the week. Be sure to go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/shop and check it out. Jim is always working his magic, not just behind the switcher, but also at the loom, weaving these beautiful t-shirts for us. So go to TheKnifeJunkie.com/shop and check it out. All right, I got to go. So for Jim, working his magic behind the switcher. Oh, before I say that, check out Charles Jones from Charles Jones Blades. Those of you who love swords, definitely check this one out. You'll like it. All right. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying, until next time, don't take dull for an answer.